have a question. Um, I am currently a referral partner at EXP,
Okay.
based in Atlanta, Georgia. How can I work in the business brokerage realm?
Well, if you're a referral partner, then so are you with the EXP's referral system? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, what you do then is if you are speaking with business owners who are wanting to sell or wanting to retire, then you just, you know, shoot an email or something to one of the business brokers. There are business brokers in Georgia I can connect you with. And there are also, or you can shoot me an email and I'll take a look at it. But I can connect you with somebody in Georgia. Georgia's a licensed state. So,
So in Georgia, I don't believe to broker business transaction, a specific license is needed,
yes,
other
it is.
than I mean, I'm sorry, you said yes?
Yeah, Georgia is a licensed state. You have to have a real estate license in order to sell a business. But as
Right.
a referral within EXP referral, you can refer to an EXP agent. They have to be with EXP Commercial. They cannot be with EXP Realty. EXP Realty cannot sell businesses. So to refer, you have to refer to somebody that's in EXP Commercial who also has a business broker addendum to their independent contractor agreement so that they are authorized to sell businesses. Because just because
So,
somebody's with EXP Commercial doesn't mean they're authorized.
is this specific to EXP that in order to sell businesses, you need to be to have a separate certifications? Is it just required by EXP itself?
Within EXP, it's not a certification, it's just an authorization. It's a
Okay,
addendum to the independent contractor agreement.
okay,
And so they do have some requirements that they enforce in order for agents that are with EXP Commercial, in order to authorize them to sell businesses. They want to know that they have a basic level of education in business sales. So they make them
okay,
join the IBBA and take some IBBA courses and then connect up with a mentor, a business broker
okay.
mentor.
Now, as a referral division agent, I don't have to have any of those authorization you just mentioned,
No, you
correct?
don't.
Okay,
Correct.
okay, good, good. I do have a couple of leads, including an accounting firm ready to sell, and I also have an accounting firm that is interested in buying, and they are both asking me to do something. So that's why I asked this question. Now, what kind of paperwork platform should I access to? I realized that ever since migration to Slack, as I couldn't see a lot of activities, and I don't see any place to access those referral forms anymore. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean I really don't use Slack that much. I haven't taken the time to I'm sure they have some training on it. I just haven't had time to go through it personally, and so I haven't done that. But like I said, I mean you can I would just use email. Um, if you want, I know a couple of agents in Georgia that can
Atlanta.
probably take on in Atlanta. Yeah, that can take on that accounting firm for you. So actually, if you want to, April Lawson is in Atlanta. Um, and so you can reach out to her. It would be April.Lawson, Lawson, at expcommercial.com, and just send her an email. And I think honestly, because 90% of business referrals don't go anywhere, because 90% of the business referrals, the business is not ready to be sold, or the seller is very unrealistic about what the price that they want, or for whatever reason, things don't work out. So as a business broker, we don't typically fill out referral forms and do all that until after we've done the valuation. We know the seller's going to, I mean, that's part of for me, that's part of my process when I'm filling out a representation agreement, because I'm going to be listing this business. Now I'm also filling out a referral agreement and sending that back to the person who referred it. So it's a little bit different than what you experience in residential and maybe even commercial, where the referral forms are done up front and all of that. But because 90% of the referrals don't go anywhere, and those referral forms have to have 4 signatures on them, the 2 agents plus the 2 managing brokers. And it's just not a good use of time to be sending those things around if there's not going to, be an actual listing or engagement out of it. So yeah, so I mean, um, email, if you send somebody an email with the contacts, referring them the contacts and all that, they keep track of that. I mean, that goes in, like, I keep track of those. They goes in my CRM. That person's name that referred them gets, gets labeled on that particular contact record. So I know exactly how they came to me. I always know who's owed a referral fee or a referral agreement if we end up doing an engagement. And honestly, I mean, I have people that, like, I have somebody I've been talking to, a seller I've been talking to on and off for the last 2 months, that was referred to me 3 years ago. And I know exactly who referred it and who would be due a referral fee if we end up selling her business. So yeah.
Yeah, another lead. I just want to, check your opinion. This is a HVAC company, and the owner is warm to sell the business to the current operation manager, and the manager obviously is very interested in buying it. Now, since they already having the initial the conversations, um, will there be any value for me or EXP to say, hey, we would want to help you to memorialize all the conversations and the sales contract and that kind of thing? Is there any value here to serve as an intermediary here, or
Well, I
just
mean,
advice?
I've done that before for in another company. It wasn't HVAC, but it was a company where it was exactly that situation. The owner was selling the business to his general manager. And so, yeah, in terms of, I didn't need to package and market the business, but I did handle everything from, they had already even negotiated the price, but basically I interfaced with the escrow, told them what to expect in the transaction. Here's the transaction process. Here's what you need to know and need to do. Handled seller disclosures, buyer disclosures, you know, interface with the lender. The buyer had certain needs, and certain documentation needs for the lender and so forth. And so I coordinated all of that. So yeah, I mean, I think that agents certainly, business brokers certainly can bring value to a deal, even when and actually specifically when the owner is selling to a key employee or something like that, because otherwise there's a lot of things that get skipped, and like disclosures, and they get skipped. And if they get skipped and then there's a problem down the road, then you have a buyer potentially um, able to hire an attorney that says, well, seller failed to disclose this, and this, where you have disclosure forms that are being provided to the seller. Now the seller's going through and answering a whole bunch of questions and providing that information to the buyer. Well, that helps protect the seller down the road, right?
Would that mean the broker fees will be significantly less in this case because they already know each other and start the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think depending on the size of the transaction and all of that, and depending on the broker, um, the typically brokers are charging a percentage with a minimum fee. And in some cases, when it's a deal like that, depending on the size of the deal, it could be a minimum fee or it could be some other flat fee amount that is somewhere between whatever the minimum fee would be and whatever a percentage of the deal would be. So
All right,
it just
since
depends
you're
on the
thinking,
broker.
yeah, thanks. Well, we are talking about this. I have you on the phone. Um, Another one is a auto repair shop. He is interested in selling,
Mhm.
but it comes with real estate. But I'm suspecting that the business value is substantial. In this case, should I contact a broker with business authorization? Would that be a better approach?
Yes, because the if you refer it to a commercial agent who does not have the ability to sell businesses or is not authorized to sell businesses, then they're just going to have to pull somebody else in anyways. And so if you refer it to a business broker, they can do both. They can sell the business and they can sell the property, or if the business owner wants a long-term lease, they can generate the lease, they can do whatever's necessary. And again, it goes back to the conversations with the seller. What is the seller's objectives? Because some sellers are flexible, but their preference is to go ahead and sell the building. Others are flexible, but their preference is really for a long-term lease because they want that cash flow. They want monthly cash flow for the next 5 or 10 years. And then they might entertain like a 5-year lease with a 5-year option, but also, or I'm sorry, 5-year lease with another 5-year extension, but then an option to purchase during that last 5 years. So there's all kinds of structures that may come about depending on what the seller's preference is. And then, of course, what the buyer negotiates.
Thank you. I know, yeah, in this case, it's clear. I know this guy, he wants to get rid of the business and the real estate and start something else. So it's
Yeah.
better to contact the EXP uh, commercial broker with business authorization, business transaction
Yeah, you want a business
authorization.
broker because the other reason is because business sales are confidential. So a business broker is not going to put the real estate in LoopNet with the address sitting there because then anybody coming by knows that, or anybody looking at that knows, oh, the business is also for sale, right? Because
Yeah.
people that own, I mean, you can look up the ownership of the business and the ownership of the building. And generally speaking, if somebody owns the building, they're not going to sell it. If they own the business and they're operating out of their own building, they're not going to sell their building without selling their business, right? It just logically, they just don't do that. And so then what happens is if you have a commercial broker who just puts the building into LoopNet and Crexi and all these other places, now all your confidentiality on your business sale has gone out the window because everybody has, the property address and all of that. And it can become, I don't know how many mechanics he has, but it can become a problem if you have like a lead mechanic or somebody that finds out that the building and the business are for sale and gets spooked and then just, goes down the road and gets a job elsewhere. And then that, the value of your business now drops because you just lost a key employee. So does that make sense?
Yes, yes, but along that vein, if somebody's selling a hotel, um, it comes with that business. Um,
Yes. Mhm.
are you saying that if I ask search for a broker within EXP, that broker needs to be to have business transaction authorization as well for a
I
hotel?
would, yeah, so on a hotel, you actually have three components. And sometimes they're all the same person and sometimes they're not. So that you have the business itself, which might consist of F&B and catering and all that kind of stuff. You also have sometimes a management contract, and then you have the real estate. So sometimes the hotel and sometimes the hotel owner owns the real estate, but sometimes they don't. And so the real estate could be owned by a third party. You might have the hotel, the management, that could be a separate management contract. So you always need to know if the owner on smaller hotels, usually the owner owns all three of those components. They are leasing out the rooms, they are renting the rooms, they are doing any kind of F&B, they or any kind of conference and stuff like that if they have that available. Smaller hotels don't. But they're doing all the management, and oftentimes they also own the real estate. But as you get a little bit larger hotels, those three can become separated, and so you need to know how many people are you dealing with.